We're back, people, and today we're working on film on Andrew Armstrong, Arkansas wide receiver, UDFA for the Miami Dolphins. This is probably the biggest one where, I have no idea why he went undrafted. He is a little bit older, at 24. That usually only bumps down people a little bit. I thought he could have gone as, a fourth, fifth round player in this class. Little bit, he's, almost 6'4", 200 pounds, has a large catch radius, moves well. He tested pretty well, especially for a larger player. He had pretty good speed. He had elite explosive grades. Even his short area stuff, change of direction, was pretty good testing wise. I think there's some things on film he could work with better deceleration, change of direction, but that's pretty normal for a bigger body receiver. He's pretty smart. His tempo is good. He was very productive too. His production was really good at Arkansas. He was the most productive receiver in the SEC this last season. It's really there. Maybe there's just something we don't know about, but based on the film, which is all I have, this is a player who has, I think, a pretty good chance of making the Dolphins roster. At the back end, he's my favorite receiver they added, and they added a couple good ones. He works timing and tempo well in his routes. He's good at finding soft spots versus zone, working off scripts. I think his movement when the ball in his hand's pretty good. He just has a pretty good feel for the game, pretty good feet, especially when he's able to maintain his momentum. I feel like when he has to stop on a dime, he can get a little bit stuck in the mud at times, but he's still able to sell vertically, be a reliable option for a quarterback. So I'm a big Andrew Armstrong fan. Make sure you guys, leave a like, comment on the video. It really helps push it out. So, really appreciate if you guys do that. But let's start breaking down some of this film. So first play here versus Ole Miss. And doing this first good competition across the board. Just running that, this route kind of translates to what Miami likes to do. But pretty efficient with his footwork here. I think this little move that he sells there kind of sells he can break on that post or dig, and then he sinks his hips, get out of the break. Could probably be a little more efficient, but I think for a bigger body guy who's got a long stride, it can be tough to do this stuff, so it's not too bad. Has enough, catches the ball starting with good timing, anticipation, and then instantly turns into a threat after the catch. I think he throws pretty good anticipation, has a pretty good feel for this. Breaks a tackle. He'll play pretty physical, which is nice for his size. He's got some juice. I think he ran 4.51. Another, a pretty solid time for him. Definitely big X receiver type. I think he can even play some big slot if you allowed him, but pretty efficient route on the outside, getting in that, in between this triangle of defenders, catching the ball and instantly turning into a threat. Really seeing that type of work out of Armstrong. There's so much to I think, with a lot of the routes he's running here at the bottom of the screen. Isolated, basically playing as an X. I think his release package is pretty good. I think his releases are better than his route running, efficiency-wise, which I actually think is important for a bigger body guy because you're not always going to create a ton of separation. I don't think he's going to be a big separator, but when you can win off the line quickly, it allows you to get into a good spot. So even if the guy recovers, it puts you in a better spot to win in contested situations while the guy's more in a panic recovery mode. So he's able to, I think also he's not full momentum. He doesn't have to decel off releases. He just hits him with the foot fire split release, hard stab this outside foot. You can see he sets this up, good footwork, hard stab outside, gets this guy to freeze his, his feet, is able to open up late, and now Armstrong's able to cross his face. I feel like when he's breaking at more of a 45-degree angle, it's better. Sometimes when he has to completely stop breaking at 90 or, turn back to the ball, there's sometimes I feel like his feet get stuck. But able to pull away. Just really like the releases he can have versus press man. It's honestly, I think Armstrong versus Theo Weiss, who I'm going to do next for the UDFAs, are going to have a battle in camp. I think one of them will make it. There's even a chance both of them make it because there is 2 open spots on the back end of the roster for the receiver room. I think Weiss is a better route runner, but when it comes to releases, they both have good release packages, but I think Armstrong has better releases versus press man, while Weiss has better releases versus players playing off man coverage, maybe in a zone match type situation. But nice seeing Armstrong win versus press there. Here's another example, when he gets to keep his momentum in his routes, he can create some separation. Ball doesn't go to him, but here, isolated one-on-one, I believe that's Zai Alexander, another player, in this draft class. But he does a good job just really accelerating off the ball, giving a little head nod and stab to the inside, and then eating up the space. Corner kind of opens up his hips late, and now he's able to get up on top of it and then break away to the corner. If this ball's thrown, to this side of the field, he's open. This is just an example of I think where Armstrong, when he's able to run a route like that, maintain his speed through his route stem, moving for a guy of his size, it's pretty impressive. Here he's on the outside, nothing too crazy, stopping on a dime. He runs a lot of curls, works a lot on a vertical plane, but breaks on it. As you can see, like when he breaks, it's not the most efficient. Sometimes I think, gets a little bit stuck. You can see he kind of loses balance there, but then look at the ball's misthrow and look at the catch radius up to get it fully extended. He makes a lot of nice catches like this. So just want to show this off for like the catch radius, and then still also body control and balance to stay on his feet to get upfield after the catch. Because some guys might go to the ground trying to catch this football, especially when your body's in the air contorted like that. So some in-air athleticism for Armstrong in that type of situation. Here he is using some physicality, some hand fighting. I think his hand fighting is pretty good. Versus man-to-man coverage, playing off-man. DB actually does a good job getting his leverage back, but Armstrong leans into him and then creates separation with like a push-off there. Not going to get called for PI in this situation, just being physical, and then is able to create enough separation with that. Catch the ball with your hands, look the ball in. He's pretty reliable with his hands, just working across the field, beating man in multiple situations. Here's another example where like the positives and negatives of his game both show up. So on the outside, isolated, the release off the ball, pretty good job, foot fire, split release. He doesn't waste a lot of time on his releases too. Like gets off the ball, fire, and then look at him use that right hand. That right hand slaps down, which forces this guy to miss that punch, which gives him free free access to the inside. So it gets him in a good spot. That's why the releases are so important, because sometimes when he has to full stop and break, it's not the most efficient. Like you can see, like he doesn't sink his hips super well. He doesn't bring his knees to his chest. So like his body lean needs to be better here. And like if you watch it in full speed, like he's not running that route perfectly. He has to take some extra false steps. Like look at his right foot there. He has to step on it a couple of times. But he still wins so efficiently by selling vertically and winning off the ball that he's able to make that catch and then works back towards it, catches it away, and twists his momentum upfield. Really good job. Then is able to carry the guy for an extra, 5 yards there, which is nice to see. Physical aspect of his game. Isolated on the outside here with Armstrong. Just doing a good job selling. I love the peek back here. Bigger body guys. I feel like his movement skills just are the type of movement skills that translate to the next level for guys this size. Just the way he gets off the ball with like the foot fire, the split releases, the timing, the tempo of the routes. And then he sells vertically, gets up on top of this guy. And then I love this part. You're about to see. See how he peeks back to the inside? And he's breaking on a comeback. So he peeks back to the inside, which gives this guy the sense like, oh, they're probably going to throw, like he's trying to sell like they're going to throw this vertically. But then he's able to, boom, break on this, be pretty efficient there, not getting too stuck on this comeback. Probably could have done it better, but it's nice to see that he's able to sell with his body language, the tempo of the route, boom, get out of that. And then also show situational awareness. I feel like he's got good awareness on the sideline, get 2 feet in bounds, catch the ball. He's sort of, do the, like dead in your legs to get in bounds there, which shows nice awareness. So lots to like, I think, with Armstrong's game. There's just some route efficiency that I think he's going to have problems with when it comes to change of direction and deceleration at times to the next level. Not going to be a huge separator, but for a guy of his size, there's so much to like with his game, and I think he fits in nice. Here's another aspect I like his fit with Miami, is the Dolphins want some potential physical guys. You'll see some blocking later on this game, in this game specifically. Here he is on the outside, isolated versus press man-to-man. Gives a little slight hesitation. Looks like he might go foot fire. He like sells like he's going to hit a foot fire with his hands, like because he does a little boom, boom, boom with them. But he doesn't. He just instantly speed releases, hand fighting, and now uses that. Like he gets a little bit of a subtle push-off hand fight to create last-second separation and then track the football in, make a nice play down the field. Really good work there from Armstrong. Another example of just good release, peek back to the inside, break to the outside. Like this is just nuanced route running. So boom, the release is good. Like look at the footwork too, because he takes that step, like he switches his stance. Like his right foot instantly goes back. His left foot like crosses over to the inside, gives this like little skip, and then puts himself in a split situation. So he moves this guy to this inside part. Now is able to get a free access to the outside, hand fights through some contact, peeks back to the inside while in control with his right hand on the corner, and then times it perfectly to break away on that out route while also using his hands, but used his eyes, and then shows that awareness again to get 2 feet in bounds, use your hands. Just so many clean part of that game. Yak ability, anticipation, I like the movement skills here too. Efficient feet. Guys of his size that are able to show efficient footwork like this. Like, look at this. Like, he sets it up to the outside, already ready to, because he bends his back to the outside to get this guy to overcommit, and then boom, change direction back to the inside. Combine these moves. Shows really efficient footwork there. Honestly, he even looked like he kind of looked like, I'm not saying he's CeeDee Lamb. He's not CeeDee Lamb. But he kind of moves and looks like CeeDee Lamb in this type of situation, at least. Because that looks like a CeeDee Lamb-esque type of play. Obviously not CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was a different type of player, but there are some similarities in play style, at least. Here's another example of it where kind of gets, he's able to sell vertically so nicely that even though his break efficiency isn't perfect here, like it's a little stuck, he probably should work back towards the ball, but then shows some anticipation to turn to the outside away from the corner too. That's nice. The zone awareness. He thinks he might get man-to-man here off rope with this guy lined up over him, but he sees this guy peeking to the inside. They're like, oh, I'm just going to instantly get to this spot, snap his head around. Some guys are a little bit late too, but he snaps his head around right as he works past into this zone. He starts to, make himself, slow down a little bit, doesn't want to float too far into these safeties, wants to give his quarterback an easy target, catches the ball, makes sure he secures the catch. He can be a slot possession receiver too in that sort of situation. I think he's a fairly smart player. Also works well off script. Like, nothing too crazy here in the beginning. Play goes off script. He works, in with his QB. QB throws it high and away. He shows catch radius, ball skills. Look at that. Body control off script. Makes a tough catch, but still stays on his feet. And then is able to pick up, an extra 20 plus yards. Just so impressed with that type of thing. Here's another example of the off script stuff from this angle. Once he sees his QB escape the pocket, like he's ready to work to the inside, he's already flipping back to the outside. On the same page, he's definitely a good off-script receiver. That's definitely not a problem with his game. Down the field, making these tough layered catches over the middle, no fear. Just boom, makes that catch. That's something that translates to the Dolphin system. And then here's some blocking reps. Physical, definitely in this game, I believe, versus Tennessee, just went out there and tried to bully these corners. He sells like he's going to give a release, and then boom, onto him, on top of him, to the ground. Couple examples like that here in the slot. Doing it again, puts another guy in the ground. That's something that you want to see. He does a really good job selling like he's going to release by giving them that little hop, raise the pad level. The foot is selling release, the footwork, and then on top of him, put him to the ground. That's a big part, I think, of Armstrong's game that teams will definitely like. So really not sure why he didn't get drafted. I think out of all the UDFAs the Dolphins picked up, he was the one that I was like, yeah, he should have got drafted. I think there was a few others that probably could have got drafted, like Conyers, but it didn't surprise me he went UDFA, at least because there is some developmental parts of his game. Well, I think Armstrong, I wouldn't be, I could see him as like a wide receiver for a team pretty early on in his career. For a UDFA guy, that's like really, really good. And he's probably the best of the bunch, in my opinion, right now, unless there's something we don't know about from an off-field perspective, but I haven't heard anything like that. So Andrew Armstrong, purely on the field, probably the best UDFA in my opinion, with a good chance of making the team. Excited to watch him in the preseason. There's there's probably like 4 or 5 that I think have a fairly good shot at making the team. And if they don't, I think the one thing is with Weiss actually got a nice guaranteed, which gives him a good shot at making the team. That's something to definitely take notice of, and we haven't seen anything reported like that with Armstrong. So that is something that is kind of throwing my brain for a loop, because I would say based off film, I would prefer Armstrong at least a little bit over Theo Weiss, even though I like Weiss as well. But based on the contract they give up with the guaranteed money, it would seem like they prefer Weiss. So we'll see how it plays out in training camp. It should be very interesting. Preseason is going to be, I think, very fun with this UDFA class, and the Dolphins have a lot of spots open towards the end of the roster in a bunch of different rooms. So if you guys are doing that, comment and subscribe.